Well, to be MegaCapitalG here, Duelist Pack 19 is here. You guys probably already saw my Bandit Keep video. This is part 2. We're going to be covering Pegasus's 3 cards, and I think I'm going to save Weevil for tomorrow. I don't want to slam you guys and overload you completely with videos. So, looks like Pegasus is going to get himself a brand new Thousand Eyes Restrict, and new Fusion Monster, new Fusion Spell, and then he has another card to kind of accompany that, which is supposed to set up the new fusion as well. Now, when I saw this, I was not gonna lie, I was like, yo, the artwork on this card is fucking badass. And at this point, I wonder if Konami is just gonna make every fusion spell ever like mimic polymerization, where it has kind of the 2 monsters in the circle. We've seen everything from Gem Knight Fusion to Brilliant Fusion to Shadow Fusion to Red Eyes Fusion kind of all have that same artwork. So Konami being a little lazy there, but I think the artwork of the new Thousand Eyes Restrict is kind of fine. And when you look at the new Barrel Dragon Bandit Keeps monster, like, you look at it and you're like, holy shit, this was worth waiting 15 years. I'm not so sure that this new fusion was kind of like 15 years, it should have been more powerful, because people have to understand, I said this on my stream, Thousand Eyes Restrict came out in the 4th Yu-Gi-Oh set. We are in the 6th era of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had, I don't know, something like 60 plus boosters. I think we're on like booster 65 or something. So yeah, it's definitely has it's got its work cut out for it if it wants to be impressive by today's standards. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at the support card first. This is Millennium Eyes Illusionist. This is a level 2 dark spellcaster, 0 attack, 1400 defense. I kind of expected Pegasus's monsters to have 0 attack if they're going to focus around Relinquish and Thousand Eyes Restrict and whatnot. The first effect is a quick effect, and I actually think it's like super good. And you can only use, each effect is a hard one to return. So the first effect says discard, then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to 1 Eyes Restrict fusion monster or relinquish you control. This counts as equipping it by that monster's own effect. This is just nuts to me. The fact that your opponent can have any monster on the field and you can just say, nope, I'm just gonna take, well, it has to be an effect monster, so I guess, yeah, technically you can't use it against like normals, but how many like normal monsters do we really see in Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays? Everything is pretty much effect based, and it's during either player's turn, so this first effect is actually pretty nuts. Then the second effect says, if an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or relinquished is summoned, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand, so you basically just get it back. So I think that this card is actually very solid. The card that I'm wondering about is basically the new Thousand Eyes Restrict, which is Millennium Eyes Restrict. It is level 1 dark spellcaster, 0 attack, 0 defense, just like Thousand Eyes Restrict. The effect says once per turn, when an opponent's monster effect is activated, it can be anywhere, graveyard, hand, effect, whatever. Quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls or has in their graveyard. Equip that target to this card. Okay. Second effect, this card gains attack and defense equal to the combined attack and defense of monsters equipped to it by this effect. So I believe that's copy pasted straight from Thousand Eyes Restrict. The third effect is a monster with the same name as the monster equipped to this card cannot attack and its effects are negated. That effect seems underpowered and random as fuck to me. I don't understand why this isn't a skill drain. Now, there's been a lot of debate, and a lot of people say that this card, like, when I first saw it, I was like, so basically, how is this better than Thousand Eyes Restrict? I was like, this shit is worse than Thousand Eyes Restrict, and I honestly, I've tried to look at it from the potential. Like, I understand that it can hold multiple monsters. People on my stream pointed out, like, Cap G, it can actually hold multiple monsters, so you can just kind of rack up monsters. But the real problem with this card is it has 0 attack and defense. What's stopping your opponent from just saying, okay, summon Shadow Mist, attack? Like, unless you have this guy right here, the hand trap, like, you're just gonna get, this thing's just gonna get ran over, because there's no guarantee your opponent is going to use a card effect. Your opponent can just say, you know, normal summon Goki Suplex, attack, you know what I mean? Like, and then you just basically put all those resources into your Thousand Eyes Restrict or Millennium Eyes Restrict, and it just dies. The third effect, I think, just seems like completely wasted potential. It makes it so that other monsters with the same name can activate their effects and attack, but okay, like if you take Zodiac Trident, like your opponent can just summon Broad Bull, or your opponent can just summon Thoroughblade and attack, or they can just summon Whiptail and attack. And you know, I'm obviously using Zodiac as just an example. Maybe Zodiac won't even be around when this comes out, but I don't know. The third effect just seems like it doesn't do enough to actually protect your Millennium as restrict. If it was like every monster on the field, every monster on your opponent's side of the field cannot, you know, or has its effects negated while this guy has a material, I'd be like, that's cool. It wouldn't actually stop the problem of your opponent can still just normal summon and run them over, but at least it would be something. It would give them a little more protection. So yeah, I kind of think that this card is like worse than the original Thousand Eyes Restrict. If you guys disagree, please let me know why. I think the fusion spell is it's actually pretty good. It's a quick play. It says it's called Relinquish Fusion. You can only use let's see. So it's a hard once per turn. You can only use both effects are hard once per turn. You can only use each effect. You can only use each of this card's names effects once per turn. Effect number 1, fusion summon one eyes restrict fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing monsters you control, have in your hand or have in your graveyard as fusion materials. Okay, so basically fusion from anywhere. I was really crossing my fingers and I was hoping that it would take deck as well, because then you wouldn't have to worry about drawing like fucking Relinquish, which is kind of shitty. But Relinquish is searchable by a billion ways: Manju, Sanju, Sangan, whatever. Second effect says you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one effect monster your opponent controls. Equip that target to an eyes restrict fusion monster or relinquish you control. This counts as equipping it by that monster's effect. I mean, that's fine, I guess. Basically, what I'm thinking that they want you to do is when you summon your Millennium Eyes Restrict, I assume they want you to immediately use the fusion spell to just take one of your opponent's monsters. That's what I assume, because the Millennium Eyes Restrict can't just equip something immediately. He has to wait for a monster effect to activate. So I guess when you look at it like that, the fact that the second effect from the fusion spell does immediately give you the ability to take one of your opponent's monsters, I guess Millennium Eyes isn't all that bad. Look, I guess my final point on Millennium Eyes is it's an okay card, but I don't think that it made the drastic jump in playability. Like, it seems like it should do a little bit more. I guess on its best day, if you combine it with the new fusion card, it's probably just as good as Thousand Eyes Restrict, but it's definitely not better. Also, I believe you can summon this from instant fusion as well. So I don't know, people might play this without even playing the rest of these cards. So whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I do think that these cards are fairly interesting though. And I don't just mean Pegasus's cards, I mean all of them collectively. So whatever you guys think, again, leave it in the comment section below. Maybe you disagree, maybe you agree. I'm very interested to see what you guys think of the new Pegasus and Thousand Eyes Restrict, or really Millennium Eyes Restrict cards. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications if you want to see daily videos. This video has been brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audible.com/MegaCapitalG. Over 180,000 audiobooks to choose from. I'm listening to the very, very interesting Pegged by My Kawaii Anime Waifu. Link in the description.